When you're standing in front of a pile of poolside chairs online, it's easy to feel a little overwhelmed. The pictures look perfect, the materials sound premium, but you're also wondering whether you'll end up with something that fades after a summer, or a set that looks great but never really feels comfortable when you're trying to relax after a swim. Those are the exact questions I asked myself before I spent a few minutes digging into the Purple Leaf Pool Lounge chairs. I wanted to know if the price tag truly reflects everyday durability, how the pieces hold up under the harsh sun, and whether they actually fit into a typical backyard layout without turning into a storage nightmare. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the material choices. The seat and back cushions are wrapped in 100% premium olefin fabric. Olefin isn't a buzzword you'll see on every budget chair. It's a synthetic fiber that's specifically engineered to resist UV degradation, mold, and mildew. In practice, that means you can leave the chairs out year-round, and you won't be surprised by a faded or musty cushion after a rainy season. I've seen cheaper outdoor chairs where the fabric starts to feel stiff and look chalky after just a few weeks of sun, so that claim alone feels like a solid foundation for long-term value. The frames are built from aluminum that's been labeled premium, and the legs are anchored to a heavy-duty base. Aluminum is a good pick for pool furniture because it won't rust like steel and it stays relatively light compared to cast iron. The heavy-duty base, however, adds enough weight that the chairs stay put even when a gust of wind nudges them. In my own backyard test, I left the chairs unattended while a brief afternoon breeze blew through. They didn't wobble or slide, which is exactly the kind of stability you want when you're reaching for a drink and don't want the chair to tip. Aesthetic touches are where Purple Leaf tries to differentiate itself. The teak arms and rope accents give the set a resort-style vibe that you usually only see in higher-priced lines. Teak, when properly sealed, ages to a beautiful silver-gray patina, and the rope adds a bit of texture without sacrificing durability. I've had rope-wrapped handles on other patio furniture that eventually frayed, but because this rope is woven into the design rather than just added as a decorative trim, it holds up better under regular use. That said, if you live in a coastal area with salty air, you might notice a slight darkening on the teak over time, nothing that compromises structural integrity, but something to keep in mind if you're aiming for a pristine look forever. Now, let's get practical. How do these chairs feel when you actually sit in them? The cushions are thick enough to support a relaxed recline, but they're not so plush that you sink in and lose that slight back support feel you get from a firmer seat. I tested them after a long swim, and the combination of the olefin fabric and the cushion density gave a comfortable, supportive feel without the need for extra pillows. The armrests are wide enough to rest a glass of lemonade, and the rope-accented back gives a subtle grip if you need to shift positions. One common hesitation people have with outdoor sets is assembly. The Purple Leaf chairs arrive partially assembled. Most of the frame is already attached, and you only need to snap on the arms and attach the base bolts. The instructions are straightforward, and the whole process takes about 10 minutes with a basic screwdriver. If you're someone who dislikes fiddling with hex keys or a lot of tiny parts, this is a relief. On the flip side, the base is a bit heavier than a typical plastic or thin metal version, so if you need to move the chairs frequently, say, from a pool area to a garden nook, be prepared for a little extra effort. Maintenance is another real-world factor. The care tip that comes with the set simply advises to hose the chairs down after heavy use and to avoid harsh chemicals that could break down the olefin fibers. In practice, that's a low-maintenance routine. A quick rinse with a garden hose after a pool party and a spot clean with mild soap if something spills. I haven't needed to apply any sealant to the teak yet, but the manufacturer does suggest a periodic wipe down with a teak oil if you want to preserve the original color. That extra step is optional, not mandatory, which keeps the ongoing cost low. Who should consider buying these chairs? If you already have a pool, a hot tub, or a sunny patio where you spend a decent amount of time outdoors, and you value a blend of durability and style, this set checks a lot of boxes. The combination of olefin fabric, aluminum frame, and teak accents makes the chairs look good for years while standing up to sun, rain, and occasional wind. They're also a solid choice if you entertain frequently because the heavy-duty base,